On this episode, we're going to talk about the engine ventilation system. So, engine gas comes up through here, goes into this top hat looking thing, and this is the oil separator vapor thingamajig, right? So, any oil debris is going to, any oil vapor is going to go in here, hit the sides, and it's supposed to drop down into the motor. And then the vent gas comes out through this elephant tube. And it used to run up into the air cleaner. And then it would get sucked back in and burned through the combustion process. But if you're like everybody else, you're running one of these. And it just had a little hose bar band that came out this way that was too small for the big hose. So what do you do with it? So what I did is ran it up into this K&N filter. The gas still comes out of this, the vent gas. You'll see it every once in a while, a little smoky looking stuff. And then I just made this little aluminum bracket to hold this in place. Other options for that elephant hose is you can just run it down to the ground and let it vent. It's just blowing out hot gas with a little bit of oil vapor in it. I got this off of Amazon. It's just a standard filter with a 3/4 inch OD to plug into that hose. The next thing we're going to talk about is the charcoal canister. If you read on top, it's a gasoline vapor filter. So there's a line under the car, on the underside of the car, that runs up and plugs into this. And it's the vent for the fuel tank. So the fuel tank has fluid in it and it has air in it on top. And the tank has to vent. When you pour gas in it, the tank has to vent for the fuel to fill up. This air has to go out. So it comes out through here. Where do you plug this into after you've desmogged everything and you're running this little bitty filter on top? So I just took a hose, plugged it into the top, and then shoved it back down behind it. So the vapor vents through here and then vents out of here and just returns to atmosphere. If you wanted to, you could, fix that bung up and run it in there, but this functions. Lets the tank vent so that you can fill it up, and that's really all it's designed for. You don't actually need this, but you need something on the end of this hose in order to prevent stuff from getting in it. So you could put a smaller filter on this, one of those K&N filters, and let it vent. You could run it up a little bit closer. I don't know. Well, let's just say those are possibilities. I did some tweaking on the carb, a little idle adjustment, a little high idle adjustment, a little air fuel adjustment. So let's put all this back on and we'll fire it up. So it's on choke. Motor's cold. It's on choke. And what I'm going to show you is I'm going to warm it up. These things are going to open slightly to like this. And then we're going to blip the throttle, take it off choke, and let it idle on the off choke setting. So I unplugged this so the choke will cool. The bimetal coil in there will cool. Then we're going to double check that when it's cold, this thing closes and it gets on the high idle. Then we'll re-verify, open it, check our low idle or our regular idle. But you saw these were a little loose, so tighten everything up. Every once in a while, it's been 6,000 miles. So something to add to your maintenance list. I don't like the way that band clamp's fitting. It's not tight enough for me, so we're gonna tune it up a little bit more and get it back installed. But first, we gotta wait for everything to cool off, so I can finish up some of the detail work on the outside while we're doing that. GoPro, stop recording.